Welcome. I'm Natasha Elkington, and I'm here with Leonidas Nzigiyimpa,
Yeah,
who is the Chief Warden for Protected Areas in South
yeah.
Burundi. Welcome.
Thanks a lot.
And I understand that you just received the National Geographic Society Buffett Award for Leadership in African Conservation.
Yes, it's true. It was the last June, and I got this interested prize, and yeah, I was very surprised, and I I'm still surprised to get this
Why?
prestigious award because yes, I have done something, but small activities in an area which is not known.
Right.
You understand? And I was very surprised to see that these small things had been known. Yeah, very
Yeah.
globally. Yeah,
Well, it means that
yeah,
you must be
very
doing some
amazing. Yeah.
interesting work. So tell us a bit more about that. Well, what is your job involved as
Yeah,
Chief
I'm
Warden?
chief warden of protected areas,
Okay.
and it's a job. It's a passion for me, and I work to protect protected areas, biodiversity, flagship species. I like to protect chimpanzees and other rare species, and I involve local communities in protection, in management. I can say that this is an innovative experience and in my country. I have discovered that the main cause of deforestation, degradation of biodiversity is poverty. And I try to work hand in hand with local communities to connect them to nature and to improve their livelihoods, because I'm convinced that if we improve livelihoods of local community, we can succeed to make good conservation.
Great.
Yeah.
So what are your main obstacles or challenges in doing the work that you do?
You know, in my country, it's a small country with high demography, and the pressure is very high. And there is a problem of land, problem of fertility, problem of land, problem of poverty. And you understand that when more than 90% of people, they depend on natural resources. For example, the main source of energy comes from wood. You understand that the pressure against the forest, the biodiversity is very, very high. And sometimes when you have this gospel of protection, of biodiversity, of nature conservation, sometimes you attract many enemies, and sometimes the distractors of environment have attempted to take my life.
Wow.
But fortunately, I'm still here.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
to
very
preach this gospel.
this gospel. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's a more brighter future.
Yeah.
But
And,
are there ways that you're maybe trying, these distractors that you're talking about? Are there ways to maybe try to include them in the biodiversity or in the work that you're doing so that they turn into friends instead?
Yeah, you understand what I'm doing. I'm convinced that I do it in favor of communities, in favor of humans.
Right.
Because when you protect biodiversity, you protect the life. You understand? You bring hope for people, for children, for youth. It's why I'm committed to go ahead, to never give up. So slowly, they have started to understood that the cause is very is noble, and what I'm doing is in favor of local community. It's why through this what I'm doing, I try to initiate activities which can generate incomes in favor of local communities. Among the local communities, I work with a particular group called Batwa, indigenous Batwa. They have no land. I have a group of Batwa near the forest of Bururi. They had no land, no job, no hope. We had many problems with this group. So I received an innovative idea which consists to integrate them in the management and the protection of the forest. They got a small salary which was divided into parts. One part, to use it to buy food every day, and another part to be saved on a common account. After 1 year, this small community of 28 households, they have saved in the first, for the first time in the history of Burundi, they have saved $12,000.
Wow.
They used this amount. They used this amount to buy a land, and now they have built their houses with how do you call it?
With roofs,
with roofs,
roofed houses,
decent houses.
Yeah.
This
amazing.
through the involvement in biodiversity conservation, you can improve your life. This is a kind of experience which has touched me, and I preach it every day in order to duplicate it in other areas of my country. We have developed many other activities such as agrotourism based on coffee and biodiversity. Also, we have hot springs in my area, and we have rehabilitated these hot springs. We have now houses where you can change. We have toilets in order to fight against pollution. We have a restaurant, modern restaurant, in order to attract many visitors. When you will come in my camp, you enjoy these hot springs. And we have revenues from these hot springs, and these revenues will be used to improve social infrastructure such as schools, primary schools, such as path, tracks, and so on. We have many things we can do in order to interest communities to know that finally natural resources can play a big role to improve their livelihoods.
Amazing.
This is what I'm doing.
And that's amazing. So in terms of to help your work, go further, what more would you need to spread, to escalate or to elevate your work?
I need to be supported. I need to be supported by authorities, to be supported by youth. I need youth to be on my side in order to understand why it is important to protect biodiversity, and they can bring their energy, their contribution to join, to bring their effort to join to my efforts to improve what I am doing. I need resources, more resources, because we work in a context of lack of resources. We have not enough resources, but we are committed.
Amazing.
We have commitment, and we will continue. How can I say? To seek, to make contact in order to increase more resources, because when you talk about natural conservation, you can't do it when you have not enough resources.
That's true.
Yeah.
So why it's like a forum like the Global Landscapes? How is that helping you with your work? Is there any
interested in initiative? Because as I have said before, when you talk about biodiversity, you need to deal. You need to talk about. You talk about the improvement of livelihoods of local community. Around our protected areas, we have big community which depend on natural resources. They depend on agriculture. If you don't deal with land degradation, poverty, loss of biodiversity, deforestation, you can't go far. We need to do something in order to improve the exploitation of the soil, to fight against erosion, to fight against land degradation, to fight against pollution, to fight against how can I say, as I have said, to control erosion, to conserve water and soil, in order to improve the productivity of the soil and to assure food security. You understand that this Global Landscape Forum is comes at the exact time, the real time. It's very necessary, and it needs to be to go ahead in order to do something in favor of local communities, particularly in Africa, and more particularly in my context, in my country, Burundi.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
We
thanks
really
a lot.
appreciate it. And thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.